especially identification, sex identification. Okay, so you will have proper detailed theory class about identification. I'll just give you some briefing so that you have an orientation. You already know about the subject forensic from your last introductory class. No, so what is forensic medicine and toxicology all about, and what is the importance of identification in forensic medicine? All right. So what do you understand by the term identification? What is identification? No, it's determining the individuality of a person. Okay. It's determining the individuality of a person. Now, it's not like that identification is only done on dead people. Like as of we know that in forensic medicine we deal with dead and all of these things. No, identification is done in dead and living as well, both. Okay. Now, in what cases and what are the uses of identification? In what cases do we think that we need identification for a particular person or something? For civil and criminal cases, no? Criminal cases in like what? Someone is a rape victim or someone has this one, yes? Murder, yes, something like this sort of things. We need identification of bony remains, all these things, okay? Or bony remains, or even from a half-burnt body or something like that, okay? For criminal cases. For civil cases also we need identification for like property disputes and all of these things. This comes under the civil cases for identification purposes. So I also have told you in some class, maybe in like last introductory class, that in civil cases, why is identification needed? Like for example, when you go to any job for any interview or something, they ask you, about your name, sex, all of these things. So these are basically the importance of identification. And in forensic, we need identification because forensic deals with medical legal purposes and everything. So for civil and criminal cases, we need to know what is the importance of identification. Okay. So here in this practical class, we will know how to determine the sex from bony remains. Now from identification, we can know somebody's sex, somebody's age, the stature or race, all of these things we can know. This comes under parameters of identification, which are the presumptive parameters of identification. Okay. Now what are the different types of identification? How many types of identification there can be? There are two types of identification. One is the absolute one and another is the partial one. Okay. Absolute and partial. Absolute may we know everything about that particular person, like name, address, sex, everything, caste, everything about that person. Partial may we will know sex, race, age, all of these things. Name we might not know. These are the partial. Okay. So importance includes, I'll write for you, includes what? For civil and criminal act of accused. Okay, this is just for your knowledge. Then we have parameters. What are the different parameters of identification? We have presumptive and then we have definitive. Presumptive, under this one we have race, sex, age and stature. And definitive may we know for sure that what is the identification of this person. This one is through dactylography, DNA fingerprinting, tattoos, superimpositions, all of these things. Okay, these are the definitive and presumptive ones. Next we have the main topic, that is sex. How can we know the sex of a person, that too from bony remains? We can determine the sex through x-rays, we can determine the sex through teeth and also from bones, both age and sex both. Okay? Today we will learn how to determine somebody's sex from the bony remains, especially not from teeth, not from x-rays, that we learn in different class. Today from bones, that too two very simple bones. This is a very short practical class, nothing much information will be given to you, just in this one, basic things. So we have two simple bones today. So now you know now the importance of identification and what are the different why age, sex, all of these things are needed. And particularly we will learn about the sex identification from bony determinants, not from the teeth, not from the X-rays, only specifically from bones. That are very two simple bones, skull and mandible, as you can see. Okay. Now, for sex determination, what are the type of sexes? No. This is phenotypic sex, okay? First type is phenotypic sex, male, female. Yes. This is what? Morphology, physical morphology, and primary, secondary, sexual characters. So what is the difference between sex and gender? No, ulta. Sex is what we are born with, your morphology. Your primary and secondary sexual characters define your sex. Gender is what you identify. That's your personal choice. Why are you laughing? You identify as something different or what? क्या? You identify as what? Helicopter. What? You identify yourself as a helicopter? What? Apache. Oh my god, nice. We don't have in phenotypic sex, okay? You can identify whatever thing you want yourself to be identified as, but sex is male. Your sex is male because your morphology of primary and secondary sexual characters are of males. So sex is male, gender is your choice. What you want to be, you can be. Okay, that nobody is going to comment. So this is the phenotypic sex. Next we have nuclear sex. Nuclear sex में आता है sex chromatins. यहाँ पे just two terms I'm telling you. One are the bar bodies. What are bar bodies? Yes, present in the somatic cells. Yes. And what are Davidson bodies? Okay, bar and Davidson bodies, just the name is enough. Nothing details I'm not going because we won't eventually have a theory class only. And then you have gonadal sex. And then you have chromosomal sex. Okay, these are the basic 4 types of sexes. Next, another thing you have apart from this is, I'm writing it alag se, which is called this is called concealed sex. What is concealed sex? This can be known only on examination, concealed sex. Okay, now for example, he said he is Apache helicopter. Okay, now his intention is not bad. Okay, he just feels like he is a helicopter, that's why he said so. Okay, now you think somebody says somebody has male morphology. Okay, and he goes and commits a crime. He rapes some women. Okay, now police is after him. Now he dresses up like a woman. He will put on some wig. He'll dress up in a certain way to make himself look like a woman. That means he is doing what? He is hiding himself. He is concealing his sex. He identifies himself as a male only. He knows that he is a male. He identifies himself as a male, but to escape from a certain crime, he dresses up himself as a female. Because police is after him, they're going to catch him. So, to escape that thing, he dresses up in a certain way to make himself look what he is not. That means he is doing what? He is concealing his original sex. With what? With a criminal intention. With a criminal intention. Because somebody, suppose some localite, somebody saw him committing that crime. So that person goes and tells to the police that, I saw a person, he looks in a certain way, he was committed that crime. Now the police will make a sketch of that person and will go run after that person to make full of the police, or make full of the system. He'll do what? He will dress up in a certain way so that he can escape from the crime. Okay, but that is not the case. Okay, that's how he cannot be. Now police gets some kind of information and gets catch hold of that person, and he calls the doctor to check that if really that person is female or male, and after examination what the doctor finds out that actually he is of a female morphology, but ऐसा नहीं है कि he identifies himself as a female. This is not his identification of gender. This is his criminal intent. His intention was bad. He was of a criminal intent, and that's why he escaped this scenario, and that's why he made himself look like in a certain way to escape the punishment. No? That's why we will call this particular category of concealed sex, which we can only know after examination. After examination, the police will find out that he is actually a female. He was actually a male. He was dressed up as a male to escape a certain scenario with a criminal intent. So this is called concealed sex. Okay, he is totally fine. He is not psychiatric. He identifies himself as male only. But to escape a certain scenario, he dressed up himself as a female person to escape a crime with a criminal intent. So this is known as concealed sex. Okay. Okay. So this is the introduction. Now next, just another simple thing. Accuracy. Now we all know why this is important, why identification and everything are important, why it is important and all of these things. Suppose somebody died at somebody's family. Okay, that person is not going to just throw away his remains at a river, at some random river, or just bury, or just throw at some jungle and go home. No, that is not going to happen. They are going to properly cremate the dead remains and everything according to rituals. All right. So some local villager or somebody, you get to hear all these cases so often in news and everything. No, somebody some bodies are being found floating in some river, or some half-burnt body is being found at some jungle or something. So then next step, police will come, and then they'll take the body, and then forensic doctor will come to examine, so that the body can be identified. And then after identification, the police will check the records, and then they'll call the contacts of that person, and then they'll ask the family members to come and identify if it's really their family member or not, their known person or not. So that's how the thing goes on, right? So randomly nobody will just throw their bodies, family members' bodies just like that at some random river flowing. No, it doesn't happen like that. So that's something very fishy. If somebody finds some dead body or some skeleton just there at some river or at some drain or at some forest or something, at some jungle just lying over there, it doesn't happen like that. That means something is fishy. So that's why we need identification and all of these proper scenarios. Okay, so what is the accuracy of identifying somebody's sex through bones? From skull, we can say about 95% it's accurate. Sorry, 90% it's accurate. From pelvis, we can say 95% is accurate. From long bones, especially from femur, we can say 80% is accurate. And from the whole skeleton combined, we can say 100% accuracy that this is the male bone, and this is the female body, and this is the male body. Then they'll this one, identify the age. They'll say though this person is female and its age is this one, and then the police will do the investigation accordingly. Okay, so this is the accuracy scene. Now straight away to our practical topic we will jump into, which is the identification of a male or female body through skull and mandible. Okay. Male, female. Now everything for a male skull is large, is big, is thick, always in the positive adjectives. And everything for a female skull is thin, small, round in shape. Okay, light, all of these things. For less prominent for female ones, more prominent for the male ones. Okay. So we just need to remember the points. What are the points that we can differentiate, and rest everything will fall into places, because it's just more, less, heavy, light, larger, smaller, elongated, rounder. So all these things, just the point you have to remember. Okay. So starting from the skull, first we will start from the frontal part. Look at your pictures now, all of you. The picture A and C you will first look at, and then right below those pictures are B and D, are lateral ones. A and B are for the male ones and C and D are for the female ones. Okay. Frontal and lateral pictures. First, we will see the shape and size of the skull. The male skull shape and size are relatively larger and with more intercranial spaces. And the female one will be relatively smaller with less intercranial spaces. The male skull will be a bit elongated in shape. The female one will be a bit rounder in shape. Can you appreciate in the picture? Look at the male skull. It's a bit broader and heavier. And the female one, it's a bit smaller with less intercranial space. The male skull look a bit elongated in structure. The female one is a bit rounder in structure, isn't it? You can see easily in that picture. Okay. Now, after the shape and size overall and intercranial space of both the skulls, we can see the forehead, the structure of the forehead. If you see at the lateral picture of the male one, the structure of the forehead of the male one is a bit steeper. The forehead is steeper, while the female one is a more vertical forehead. Can you appreciate in the picture, in the lateral picture of the female one? Isn't it more vertical? This one. It is more vertical for the female one in picture D. But for the male skull, it's a more steeper. It's more steeper. Isn't it? Appreciated? Okay. Now, after the structure of the forehead and overall structure of male and female skull, the next thing that we can look into is muscular markings. All the muscular attachment, muscular markings are our next point. Muscular markings are more appreciated and are more prominent in the male one and are less appreciated and less prominent in the female ones. Okay, muscular markings are the next. Because it's a male and female skull. Male में ज़्यादा prominent होता है और female में नहीं होता है. इसका कोई reason नहीं है. Morphology ऐसा है. Anatomy ही ऐसी है. कुछ भी. Morphology ऐसी है. हाँ हाँ Apache helicopter है ना. हाँ ठीक है. हाँ. So the next is, it's because of the morphology, no? So male anatomy is built like that and female anatomy is built like that. Muscular markings. Next, what we have, shuru se leke end tak, we have seen the forehead ka structure, we have seen the muscular markings. Next, we have the supraorbital arch. Supraorbital ridges क्या होता है? Eyebrows का part होता है. This is also more prominently seen in the male one and less prominent in the female one. In the picture, you can easily see. Isn't it more prominent in the male one and less prominent in the female one? Yes. And next we have, after the supraorbital arches, we will see at the glabella. Glabella is what point? This point. Yes, this point is the glabella. You see the lateral picture of the male one. It is more protruded and more prominent in the male skull and less protruded and less prominent in the female skull. Isn't it? In the picture, you can easily distinguish and appreciate. In this one, you cannot. This one is the glabella, which is more protruded in the male one and less protruded in the female one. Okay. After glabella, here next point is what? Frontonasal junction. This portion. This portion. This portion. Okay. This is the frontonasal junction. The frontonasal junction is more deeper in the male one and less deeper in the female one. Look at the picture. Isn't it more deeper in the male one? Right after the glabella is more protruded in the male one and less protruded in the female one. Just next below the glabella, you can see the frontonasal junction, more deeper in the male one and less deeper in the female one. From the picture only, easily you can say on your own. You don't have to mug up. You just need the real bones and you can identify. Could say you can say all these things just looking at the bones itself. Okay. After the frontonasal junction, our next point is what? The orbits, our eyes. Okay. In the male skull, you can see the orbits are more squarer in shape. Isn't it? More squarer in shape. And the female skull, the orbits are rounder in shape. Isn't it? Yes. And compared to the male skull, the orbits are a bit smaller. Compared to the whole skull, the orbits are smaller. But compared to the female skull, the orbits are a bit larger in shape. Okay. Just for your understanding and so that you can remember. ऐसे कहते हैं ना लड़कों की आंखें थोड़ी बड़ी-बड़ी होती है, लड़कों के तो छोटे-छोटे होते हैं. Girls have bigger eyes, no? Bigger and beautiful eyes. So orbits इसलिए लड़कियों की बड़ी-बड़ी हैं, मतलब skull के comparison में, okay? But the orbit size of the this one, male one is comparatively smaller to the skull, okay? Next, after the orbits, what do we have? The nasal apparatus. Okay, the nasal apparatus. The nasal apparatus is situated a bit lower in position in case of the male ones and higher in position in case of female ones. Okay, nothing much to remember there. And also bigger in shape in male and smaller in the female ones. After nasal apparatus, right next what we have? Nasal one, our palate. This one is a palate. Okay, from starting to ending we are coming. This one is a palate. The palate is bit rounder in shape in case of the male ones and broader and rounder. But in case of female ones, it's a bit smaller and parabolic in shape. You know parabola, hyperbola, you all have read these things in maths, no? Parabola, it's of that shape. Yes. So female palate is smaller and parabolic in shape, while the male palate is rounder and wider in shape, broader in shape, larger. Okay. So after palate, what do we have? We have external occipital protuberance. We go to the back side. External occipital protuberance. The external occipital protuberance is more protruded in case of males and less protruded in case of females. Look at the lateral picture. Isn't it more protruded in males and less protruded in females? Yes, it's more protruded in males and less protruded in females. Okay. Next, after the external occipital protuberance, next what we have? We have the foramen magnum here. The foramen magnum. The foramen magnum is broader and rounder and larger in shape in case of the males and opposite in case of females, smaller and less rounded in case of females. Okay. So after the foramen magnum, the next what we have? We have mastoid process. Where is our mastoid process? Here. This is the mastoid process behind the ear. This one is a mastoid process. Okay. So mastoid process in males are more pointed and larger in shape, but in case of females are less pointed and smaller in shape. Okay. One thing we missed while we were doing the orbits was zygomatic arch. Yes, the zygomatic arch again is more prominent in case of the male ones and less prominent in case of the female ones. Understood? Okay. Now there are two exceptions here. Everything is more in case of the males and less in case of the females, but there are two exceptions. The first exception is the frontal eminence, the highest part of the frontal bone, the frontal eminence and the parietal eminence. Okay, the frontal and the parietal eminence is more prominent in case of the female ones and less prominent in case of the male ones. Understood? Understood? All these points clear? Crystal clear? Any confusion? No confusion. Huh? Frontal, the highest point of the frontal bone is called the frontal eminence. This one. Okay. And parietal eminence is this part and this one. Vertical? नहीं, forehead vertical होता है. Forehead थोड़ा लंबा है ना female का, देखो थोड़ा vertical लंबा है थोड़ा. इसमें भी you can appreciate eminence. See, male का and female का. Female के में देखो parietal eminence अलग से चमक रहा है female में. This is more prominent in case of females. ठीक है? ठीक है? I could have shown you all these things here only, but ठीक है? Understood? So these are the two exceptions. For the female ones are more prominent and less prominent are the male ones. Okay? Okay, now we are done. Okay, so we will revise. चलो तुम लोग बताओ अब एक एक करके पॉइंट स्टार्ट. शुरू में ऑक्सीपिटल से स्टार्ट कर दिया, ऊपर से स्टार्ट करो. हाँ, पहले शेप एंड साइज बताओगे. लार्जर इन केस ऑफ द मेल्स, more intercranial space in case of males, and smaller and less intercranial spaces or space of females. ठीक है? Now talking about the shape, it's more elongated in males and rounder in females. ठीक है? You can see in the picture also clearly देख सकते हो. ठीक है? Then we come to the forehead. It's steeper and it's vertical. Then we come to next what? Muscular markings. Okay, very good. Muscular markings क्या है? Males में more prominent है. और फीमेल्स में लेस प्रोमिनेंट है, ठीक है। देन नेक्स्ट व्हाट वी हैव सुप्राऑर्बिटल रिजेस है, which is again more prominent in males and less prominent in females. Then we do the zygomatic arch, ठीक है, zygomatic कर लेते हैं। Zygomatic arch then again we have more prominent in males, less in females, ठीक है। Then we have glabula, more protruded in males and less protruded in females. Yes, then we have frontonasal junction, ठीक है। Yes, more deeper in males, less deeper in females, ठीक है। सुप्राऑर्बिटल हो गया। ऑर्बिट्स स्क्वायर इन शेप, हाँ बिग, चलो। And then rounder in shape in females. Nasal apparatus. Higher situated है या lower situated है males में? And higher situated in females. ठीक है? Then next what after nasal apparatus? Palate. Larger, rounder, हाँ, and smaller, parabolous, ठीक है। Then after palate what do we have? Mastoid process. याद हो गया, ऐसे ही याद हो गया, देखो ना तुम लोगों को। हाँ, किसकी ऐश हो रही है, जिसकी मैं लिख रही हूँ, इसका ऐश हो रहा है, हाँ।
Frontal eminence.
No, external occipital protuberance. External, पीछे तो जाओगे ना पहले, ऐसे याद करोगे, then you'll never forget. I try to make you guys learn in class only. By chem also I did the same thing. I tried to do the same thing so that you can learn practicals class में बैठ के. Here also I make, मतलब I try कि यहाँ पे बैठ के you learn so that practicals के लिए अलग से घर पे जाके याद ना करना पड़े बैठ के. Practicals भी रूम में बैठ के जाके याद करोगे तो क्या मतलब? Practical ऐसा होता है एग्जाम से पहले पढ़ो, पढ़ के पास करो, ऐसा. Practicals लेके बैठोगे रूम में जाकर तो theory कब पढ़ोगे? तो इसलिए जब practical में यहाँ तो just try and मतलब try कि यहाँ पे ही practice करके यहाँ पे you learn so that घर पे जाके प्रैक्टिकल सा रिवाइज करना पड़े बैठ के. घर पे यू लर्न थियोरी का थिंग ना, तो यहाँ पे यू ट्राई एंड लर्न दिस थिंग्स. एक्सटर्नल ऑक्सिपिटल प्रोट्यूबरेंस इज मोर प्रोट्रूडेड, नो मोर प्रोमिनेंट. हाँ, हो गया फ्रंटल एंड पैराइटल दिस वन एमिनेंस. हाँ, देन एक भूल गए तुम लोग, फोरामेन मैग्नम. Foramen magnum, larger and rounder and smaller in case of females. Done? हो गया? चलो, एक्सेप्शन भी हो गया है, mastoid process भी हो गया है, ठीक है? You have learned already, no? बस. We are done with the skull. Then we have mastoid mandible. Sorry. Mandible is a very simple bone. इसमें इतने सारे pointers नहीं हैं जितने skull में हैं, ठीक है? There are only 3-4 things that you need to remember for the mandible. 3-4 important things, which are what? Like this. Okay, like this. This is what? The chin. The chin. The chin is rounder in case of females and squarer in case of males. Okay? The shape of the chin is squarer in case of males and rounder in case of females. First point. Second, we have an angle over here. This angle. This angle. Obtuse angle. ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल क्या होता है? हाँ, इसका नाम थोड़ी ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल है, हाँ इसका एंगल ऑफ मैंडिबल है, ठीक है। ये दिस इज एंगल ऑफ मैंडिबल। नो, एंगल ऑफ मैंडिबल is less obtuse in case of males, like less than 125 degrees, and more obtuse in case of females, that is more than 125 degrees, ठीक है। Now here also we have another angle, यहाँ पे भी है एक एंगल, ठीक है। दिस इज कॉल्ड द मेडिकोलीगल एंगल, इसमें मेडिकोलीगल एंगल कहते हैं इसको, ठीक है। बट हियर दिस एंगल इज नॉट यूज्ड फॉर दिस वन सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन पर्पस, दिस इज यूज्ड फॉर एज डिटर्मिनेशन पर्पस, इज डिफरेंट फॉर न्यूबॉर्न्स, डिफरेंट फॉर एडोलेसेंट, इज डिफरेंट फॉर जीरियाट्रिक पॉपुलेशन, सो इट इज बेसिकली यूज्ड फॉर this one age determination. This one is used for sex determination. It's more obtuse in case of females and less obtuse in case of males. Another thing, we have the body or the height, ascending ramus ka height, which is more in case of the males and less in case of the females. ठीक है? So these are only the points for mandible. अच्छा, overall size and shape is more thicker and heavier and larger in case of the males. ठीक है? First we will start with the shape. No, shape and size of the male one will be more thicker, larger and heavier. ठीक है? Larger, thicker and heavier side. Well, from the females one कैसा होगा? Smaller, thin and lighter. ठीक है? Next we have angle of mandible. Male में less obtuse, 125 degrees. Yes, less obtuse मतलब less than 125 degrees, ठीक है। And more obtuse, ये क्या मैंने ज़्यादा क्या ग्रेटर देन स्मॉलर देन का साइन गलत लिखा है क्या मैंने? ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल मतलब वही ना जो उससे ज़्यादा होता है, हाँ उसको ही ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल कहते हैं ना, बस। हाँ, देन वी हैव बॉडी, हाइट ऑफ असेंडिंग ramus, more, less in case of the females, ठीक है। Then next one, what did we have? This one, condyle, yes, condyles. The condyle is larger in case of the males and smaller in case of females, ठीक है। Then what do we have? Chin is square and small in case of males and round and large in case of females, okay. So this is all about the mandible. Medicolegal angle, this is not required in sex determination, it is required in age determination. Here you do not need. No, यहाँ पे इतना सा बोल यही तो बोल तो दिया, ramus, ascending body of ramus, इसको तो कहते हैं height is more, height is less, ठीक है। Okay, so this is male and female scan done. Okay, so now let's revise. शुरू से लेके identification. Okay, so what's identification? No, characteristics नहीं. Determining the individuality of a person is identification. ठीक है? What are the different types of identification? Absolute and partial. These are parameters. ठीक है, absolute and partial identification, ठीक है। Then what are the parameters of identification?
Absolute में सब कुछ,
हाँ, everything, you know everything about that person, that is absolute, ठीक है। And what are the parameters of identification? Yes, presumptive and definitive. Sex, age, stature and race comes in the presumptive one, and definitive के अंदर में we have dactylography, DNA fingerprinting. चलो, you guys answer. No, I've already taught you. Dactylography, then tattoos, superimposition, DNA fingerprinting, all these things. These are definitive. No. And then our today's topic was what? Sex determination from bony remains. Okay. Now, what are the different types of sex? Chromosomal and nuclear sex. ठीक है। Then concealed sex is also one thing I've told you. Yes, this is criminal intent के लिए when we hide and it's only exposed on examination is known as the concealed sex, ठीक है। Then accuracy 95% from the pelvis, skull से 90% we can know. Overall 100% from combined skeleton, long bones, femurs 80% accuracy we have, ठीक है। Then our main topic today was skull, ठीक है। skull में एक points अभी तो you all must have learned already. First the shape, the intracranial space, Yes.
More prominent.
Yes.
Muscular.
Yes.
Abdominus.
Hmm.
Legs and
Yes, forehead, steeper and vertical. Then supraorbital muscle markings, supraorbital ridges, zygomatic arch, glabula, frontonasal junction, all of these things. Nasal apparatus, orbit, yes, palate, mastoid process, yes, all of these things. Foramen magnum, external protuberance, frontal and parietal eminences. Yes, foramen magnum, all of these things. Okay, so these are more or less everything. Protruded, more protruded, less protruded, all of these things except for the frontal and parietal eminence, which is ulta in case of males and females. Okay, next mandible, the chin we need to remember, the angle of mandible we need to remember, the body we need to remember, and condyles we need to remember, and the size. Okay, it's more this one thicker and heavier and larger in case of males and opposite in case of females. Okay, understood? So this was all about it. Okay.